Luis Jalandoni. Luis Jalandoni was born into affluence in the 1930s, accounts vary slightly with some sources noting February 16, 1935, while others suggest February 26, 1935, as a scion of a wealthy landowning and sugar-producing family in Sili, Negros Occidental. His upbringing was imbued with the privileges of a landed gentry, which granted him access to quality education. A precocious student, he excelled academically, being noted in some accounts as the class valedictorian during his time at De La Salle University High School, and later went on to study for the priesthood. This early formation in an environment of privilege and academic excellence would later stand in stark contrast to the radical choices he made as an adult. Ordained as a Roman Catholic priest, Jalandoni initially embraced the religious and community service traditions of the church. However, during the tumultuous social and political shifts in the 1960s, his eyes were open to the stark inequalities that plagued rural and urban communities alike. Witnessing the suffering of landless peasants in his native region, and aware that his own family's vast inherited farmlands symbolized both wealth and the systemic inequity, Jalandoni took a revolutionary leap. In an act echoing his deep sense of justice, he donated portions of his inherited lands to landless workers, marking his first major step into activism. This transformative act not only redefined his spiritual and personal mission, but also paved the way for his later involvement in more organized social movements. By the early 1970s, Jalandoni's dedication to the oppressed crystallized in his role as one of the founders of Christians for National Liberation, an initiative that sought to awaken the religious conscience to the struggles for social equity and land reform. His unequivocal commitment to empowering disadvantaged communities soon led him to take positions that diverged dramatically from conservative stances of the established church. His work during this period cemented his reputation as a man willing to use his personal wealth and spiritual authority to challenge social injustice head-on. The mid-1970s saw Jalandoni's life take on a deeply political hue. In 1973, amid growing political unrest and under the weight of an increasingly authoritarian regime, Luis Jalandoni was arrested along with his close associate Con Ledesma, a nun-turned activist who would later become his wife. They were detained for their involvement in radical social initiatives and political dissent, only to be released by mid-1974. His arrest, far from deterring him, underscored the risks inherent in his chosen path. Within a year of their release, he played an active role in mobilizing workers during the 1975 La Tondina workers' strike, a pivotal protest action demanding the regularization of contract employees and challenging the abusive labor practices under the Marcos dictatorship. Facing mounting state repression, Jalandoni opted for self-exile, eventually establishing himself in the Netherlands. From abroad, he continued his activism and became a central figure in the Philippine revolutionary movement. Collaborating closely with communist leader Jose Maria Sison, he assumed increasingly important roles within the movement, most notably serving as the international representative and later as the chief peace negotiator for the National Democratic Front of the Philippines, NDFP. Between 1989 and 2016, his sustained efforts in peace negotiations reflected his unwavering commitment to addressing the complex roots of conflict in the Philippines, including landlessness, poverty, and foreign domination. Integral to understanding Jalandoni's life is the profound personal transformation he underwent alongside his political awakening. His relationship with Maria Con Ledesma, the former nun and school principal, was both deeply personal and highly symbolic. Originally sharing similar commitments to social justice in their roles within the church, both Jalandoni and Ledesma found themselves drawn together by common struggles against institutional injustice. In the early 1970s, as Coni herself began to witness the same societal inequities, her path intersected with that of Jalandoni. Their relationship, developed under extraordinary circumstances, eventually culminated in their formal union on December 19, 1974, in Mandaluyong City. Notably, their wedding ceremony was officiated by Cardinal Jaime Sin, a figure who himself was renowned for his later political engagement. Although both were previously committed to religious vocations, Jalandoni having left the priesthood and Ledesma having received the dispensation, their union became a cornerstone of their shared endeavor toward national liberation. Public records focus more on their revolutionary partnership than on any details of children, and no widely known information confirms the existence of offspring. Luis Jalandoni's early life of privilege is inextricably linked to the substantial material wealth his family once possessed. His early inheritance of expansive farmlands and lucrative real estate holdings provided him with a comfortable lifestyle, a comfort he deliberately chose to forego for noble causes. Rather than amassing wealth for personal extravagance, such as purchasing luxury vehicles or other high-end assets, Jalandoni is best remembered for the symbolic gesture of donating large portions of his inherited lands to empower the landless majority. His material legacy, therefore, is not measured in net worth figures or opulent real estate, but rather in his significant commitment to social transformation. Although his precise net worth was never dissected in public records, it is clear that he leveraged whatever wealth he inherited to fuel his revolutionary advocacy rather than for personal luxury. After decades of activism, political negotiation, and tireless commitment to the cause of the Filipino people, Jalandoni's journey reached its final chapter on June 7, 2025. Residing in Utrecht, Netherlands, a city that had become both his home and the international headquarters of the revolutionary efforts he once spearheaded, he passed away at the age of 90. Sources indicate that in his final moments, he was surrounded by close comrades, family, and notably his wife Coni. His death, which occurred in a hospital following an illness, was met with both solemn tributes and reflections on his enduring impact on peace negotiations and social justice in the Philippines. Despite controversies, including his designation as a terrorist by the Philippine government during President Rodrigo Duterte's era, he remained an iconic figure revered by many for his unwavering dedication to the struggles of the oppressed. His passing marked not just the end of an era in revolutionary activism, but also left an indelible legacy in the annals of Philippine history. Reflecting on his multifaceted life evokes considerations beyond dates and events. His personal transformation from a high-ranking priest of privileged origin to a committed revolutionary encapsulates one of the most intriguing narrative arcs of political and social change. His life story challenges us to consider how personal sacrifice and a willingness to pool one's material resources can become powerful instruments for societal transformation. Moreover, his role as a negotiator later in life underscores a vital lesson, that even the most polarized conflicts may find avenues for dialogue and reconciliation when steered by individuals committed to the greater good. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.